Hello guys, and welcome back to the Minecraft mod tutorial. In today's episode, we're going to be doing custom structures that you can spawn in your world, in any biome, at any dimension. So it's going to be really cool, and this is a lot simpler than it used to be, because we can now use Minecraft structure blocks. So let's get started. Firstly, we're going to do the code, and then we can go on to, I'll demonstrate how to use the structure blocks, and how to actually get your structures in the game. So firstly, we are going to go into our source main Java, into our util interfaces. I'm going to create a new interface, so click on the class icon, the down arrow, in interface, and call it iStructure. This is going to have a couple of variables in it that we'll need for all structures, and will always be the same. So firstly, public static final world server equals FML common handler, FML standing for Forge Mod Loader, dot instance dot get Minecraft server instance dot get world 0. Get the world by the given dimension, so we're getting the overworld at this current time. So import world server, and finally public static final placement settings. These are settings that I'll use when it's placing down your structure block. Just call them settings, equals, then open bracket, new placement settings, then out of all the brackets, dot set chunk to null, set ignore entities to false, set ignore structure block to false, set mirror to none, mirror.none, and set rotation to none. These are the settings we'll always use. Anyway, that's the interface done, so give that a save, and we'll implement that into our next class, the world generator class. So world generators, and create a new class. We're going to create a new class that will be applicable for every single structure, so world gen structure. It's going to extend world generator and implement iStructure. So inside of here, we are first going to create the constructor, and inside the constructor we're going to have string name, so the name of the structure, and up here we're going to have to create a variable for the name, public static string structure name, and inside of the constructor all we're going to do is put this dot structure name equals name. So we basically, what it's doing, we're creating a variable that we can use anywhere in this class, and we are setting it to, when we call world gen structure, we'll put in a name and we'll set this variable so we can use it anywhere in the class. So we obviously need the generate function. You need that for all world generators, and we'll use that in a moment. But firstly, we are going to create the generate structure function. Public static void generate structure. We're going to have world and block pos. Block pos being the position where we spawn it, and world just being the actual world that we're in. Firstly, we need a few variables. Minecraft server, MC server. This is why we called it world server, as there's two different types of servers. Equals world dot get Minecraft server. We can't create an actual variable inside of iStructure for this, as it refers to this world rather than any world. It has to be the specific world that we're generating the structure in. Then template manager is world server dot get structure template manager. That's why we need the world server variable. Then resource location equals new resource location reference.modID, and then structure name. That's how we need this variable up here, so we can implement the name into this function. So this is the location where our structure is stored, and then template equals manager dot get MC server location, and import template. You want the structure template. Then a quick check if template is not equal to null. So if there is a template, if it's found one in the location where we set it, firstly we need to get a block state. So I block state is world dot get block state in the position where it's stored. So get the block for the position of our structure. Then notify the world of block update. So world dot notify block update pos state 3, and then template dot add blocks to world chunk world pos settings. This is the settings that we put inside of our I structure, and that's it. Then in the generate function, we just put this dot generate structure world in position and return true. We need this generate function, and this is what we call inside of our world generator. So now that's done. The structure is actually complete, but we need to go into gen, then create a new class, world gen custom structures, implements I world generator. So at the top we're going to have the actual structure itself. So public static final world gen structure, the name of your structure, which I'm going to do an armory so I can demonstrate some features, but you can do any structure you want. So armory equals a new world gen structure, the name being just put the same name. So this is going to be stored in our assets, and then there'll be a structures folder, and it'll be called armory.mbt. Then of course we need the generate function. This will be basically the same as normal. We're going to switch the dimension, so case 1, case 0, and case -1. And also when we create our custom dimension, you can put case 2 up here. Obviously we haven't created that yet, but we can put some structures generating inside of our custom dimension. But for now we're going to use case 0 being the overworld. So private void generate structure. So we're going to have the world generator, we're going to have the world, we're going to have random, the chunk x and chunk z data. So int chunk x, int chunk z. So the location of the chunk, the chance to spawn, int chance, and the block at where it's going to spawn on. So block top block, that's being the top layer of your biome. net.minecraft.block, and then class triangle brackets question mark dot classes, that being the biomes that you can spawn in. Firstly, we are going to create an array list. So it's a list, open triangle brackets, class, open triangle brackets again, question mark, called classes list, equals a new array list, triangle brackets, class, triangle brackets, question mark, then open brackets, arrays, dot as list, classes, put a semicolon on the end, Control Shift O to import array list. So this is just creating a list out of all of the biomes that we implement. Then we'll go back onto that later. We now need to figure out the location where it's going to spawn. So int x equals open bracket, chunk x times 16. So find the actual block plus a random dot next int 15. So it can spawn anywhere along the x variable from 1 to 16. Block 1 to 16 the chunk, as chunks are 16 by 16. Int z is going to be exactly the same, except we change chunk x to chunk z. And then int y. For this, we are going to have to create a different function, much smaller one, that's going to calculate where the actual floor is, so it doesn't generate randomly in the world. This took me quite a while, and I do want to shout out a Minecraft forum post that I found. It is 1.8 and 1.9 structure generation tutorial by Sky01. I haven't used any other of his code, but this get ground from above function I have used, as it's a really good function for calculating where the actual floor is, so it doesn't generate randomly in the air. I was having problems with that recently when I was trying to figure this out. So shout out to him. You can find the link to this in the description. I have modified it slightly so it can be used for all of our structures. So private static int calculate generation height. So calculate where it's going to generate. World int x int z block top block. So int y equals world dot get height, so get the height of the world, which is 255. Boolean found ground is false for now. It hasn't found the ground yet. Then I'm going to introduce a different thing. If you know Java, this is obvious, but a while loop will keep running until the parameters have been met. So while not found ground, so while found ground is false and y minus minus is greater than or equal to 0. So what this is saying is, if we haven't found any ground, we haven't found the ground yet, and if we keep depreciating y, if we keep making it lower, and it hasn't reached 0 yet, then keep going downwards. So block equals world dot get block state new block pos xyz dot get block import block pos, and then dot get block on the end. Found ground equals block equals top block. What this is saying is when block equals top block, we have found ground. So then return y. So we return the actual y that we've calculated. So that's where it's going to spawn. Then back in generate structure, int y equals calculate generation height world xz top block, and then obviously create a block pos. Pos is a new block pos xyz. Then we're going to find the actual biome that it's in. Class triangle brackets question mark biome is world dot provider dot get biome for coords position dot get class. Then a few if statements before we generate. If world dot get world type is not equal to world type dot flat, then we can generate it, because we don't want to generate structures. If classes list dot contains biome, then we can generate. So if the biome that it's in is correct to what we've set it to, then we can generate it. And then finally, if random.nextInt chance equals 0, then we can generate generator.generate world random pos. This chance here, so the greater you make the chance, the less chance it has of spawning. It's kind of the opposite of the actual chance, because if this number's greater, say this number's 100, there's a 1 in 100 chance of it being 0. If this number's 200, there's a 1 in 200 chance of it being 0. So we're making it less likely. See, if you put it as 1, they just generate absolutely everywhere. So I created this little if statement to make sure that they don't generate everywhere. Obviously you can make them generate as many times as you want, but literally it covered the entire biome and made the world loading really slow and really laggy. So finally, now that function is done, inside of case 0, generate structure, armory, world, random, chunk x, chunk z. I'm going to do 25. The top block is block init dot planks. You could go through and choose the actual variant, but since we're in the copper biome, it's never going to be anything but the planks. It's never going to be anything but the copper planks, so we don't actually have to. And then the classes is obviously going to be biome copper dot class. Give that a save. Now we are going to go and create a new world. We'll create a super flat world, and we will go and create our structure. And I'll demonstrate to you how to use the structure block, and we are going to build our structure. I'm going to quickly build it. You can build anything you want. You can include mobs if you want. You can include item frames, everything like that. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate everything, and I'll be right back. Here's my structure. As you can see, we've got my centaur in here. We've got some normal Minecraft blocks. We've got some of our custom blocks. We've got some item frames with items in them. And we also have my custom model Santa hat block. So I'm just going to demonstrate that you can have all of these types of things inside of the structure. You're going to want to destroy the floor below your structure, so your structure is completely hovering. You're then going to want to type / give yourself Minecraft structure block, and you don't want to place it on the just to the left of your structure. You then will click on the data mode to get to this screen. Type the name of it. I called it armory. You're then going to want to get the relative position to you. It's going to be the same, but it's going to be 1 and 1. And then its size, 9 on the X. So you go into the save mode, you make sure you get your structure name, the relative position, and the size, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 high. So mine's 9 by 5 by 4. Click on detect, and it should select it. Sometimes it selects the wrong direction, like here. So you've got to make the relative position. So once these lines are completely around your structure, there's nothing else with there. So for me, I had -8 relative position and 8 structure size, 1 on the relative position and 4 structure size, and then 5 and 0. But obviously yours will be different, so just keep adjusting these until it's correct. And then click on the save icon, and it'll say structure saved as armory. Now I forgot to click on include entities. Now I'll click save again. You can then exit Minecraft. You're then going to want to open up a file explorer window. You're going to want to find where your stuff is located. Mine's located in my Minecraft modding tutorial mod. Go into the run, then saves, then figure out which one is the newest one. It should be the one with the most minuses, As you can see here, I have a lot of worlds for testing. Then the structures folder, and you'll find armory.mbt. Copy it. Go back into your tutorial mod. Source main resources assets. TM. Create a new folder called structures. And paste it in. Then go over to Eclipse, click F5. Forgot to actually register this iWorld generator. So go into Util, Handlers, Registry Handler, and just below the custom trees, Game Registry, dot register world generator, new world gen custom structures, and 0. Now it should work. Run your game again and have a look. So you have to create a new world again. Copper. If we look here, tutorial mod is loading lots of chunks. This is my structures spawning in this world. In my other testing world I have planks, but this has dirt. Obviously it won't work because my block that I've set it to spawn on is planks, not dirt. And now it'll work. Once again, I'll go and test it again. See, modding can take quite a few tests. This tutorial itself, I've redone this code 10, 20 times. Been quite frustrating, but it just didn't work the way I wanted it to originally. Some of you in my Discord may have seen, like a few weeks ago, I did say that I'd finished the structures, but then I realised it just wasn't working the way I wanted it to, and now I've got it completely working correctly. It's just sometimes I forget things like that. Here we are, the structures are spawning with our entities inside, and everything's exactly the same. Unfortunately, I don't know where our trees have gone. I'll have to look into that. I'll go look into that now and see, and I'll explain it to you in a minute. After some quick looking around, I found that you can use the same function that I just created here for the generate structure for also the trees as well. This is a much better function for the trees and allows you to have much less trees. And I've also moved the trees into the World Gen Custom Structures class. So I'm going to delete the World Gen Custom Trees class. Now I've deleted the World Gen Custom Trees, we need to remove it from here as well. And then Ctrl-Shift-O and save. So you can now put the chance for trees to generate as well as the armory. I'm going to put 20 for the armory and 10 for trees. And now we can see our structures and our trees generating in the same world. So as you can see here, we have some trees generating up here. And then down the ground, we have some of our structures generating. And it's spawning with our entities. So if you did everything correctly, all your stuff should be generating in the world. And if you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button down below. I know it's been quite a long one, and it took quite a long while for me to make. So I would love it if you would hit the like button down below to show your support and subscribe. Thank you always to my patrons who donate to me on Patreon. Thank you very much. So thanks for watching, guys. My name's been Harry, and goodbye.